Welcome, my baby. Good morning, Jamil Peterson, Mr. I Am Comedy, my baby. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Y'all, there was a judge, and she is, I guess, slated to, serve a life in prison, a jealous judge out of Pennsylvania. She shot her boyfriend, you guys, and also come to find out her ex-husband as well, y'all. We are going to get into it. Welcome in. Smash the like button, y'all. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday morning. My baby Jamil Peterson says, salute, baby. Smash the like button. Everyone coming in the building. Definitely pure survival. Y'all, a judge, a black female judge. Now, was she like a nuisance? Was she like a hard woman to, to deal with? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But, y'all, we going to get into it. We is going to get into it. We going to see what is going on, y'all. We going to see what's going on. Because this woman, she was doing the most. And come to find out, she pow-powed her ex-husband as well. Y'all, let's get into it, y'all. Let's check it out. Let's see what is going on with this judge.
A shocking story out of Pennsylvania for you. A judge's boyfriend tries to end their year-long relationship, tells her she has to move out. In response, she shot him in the head while he slept. Now, he miraculously survived the shooting and testified against her at trial. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Shout out to Law and Crime.
Well, it didn't take very long for a jury in Pennsylvania to find former Harrisburg District Judge Sonia McKnight guilty of attempted murder. Yep, you heard me right. Prosecutors say she was a scorned lover, and when her boyfriend at the time insisted she move out of his home, she fired a gun at his head while he was in bed, possibly.
Now, y'all, this is crazy. Could y'all imagine, going and then, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, either way it goes, is like, hey, this is over. You need to move out. And then next thing you know, the person still shows up at your house, y'all. This is crazy. But was she hard to handle? Was she hard to deal with? I believe so. But y'all, let's continue.
Trying to stage things
Hey,
to look like a
Arctic
suicide. But that boyfriend, well, ex-boyfriend, Michael.
So if y'all are just joining us, there is a judge out in Pennsylvania. Y'all, she shot her ex-boyfriend, and come to find out, she shot her ex-husband too. So she is being looked at as, did they really take care of this first case? I don't know. But y'all, she is looking at life in prison. But y'all, let's continue.
McCoy lived to tell the tale, and he did so on the witness stand, and we're going to get to that. Now, we first told you about 55-year-old Sonia McKnight's arrest a little more than a year ago. In February 2024, McCoy, who had been in a romantic relationship with McKnight for about a year, wanted to end the relationship. So he asked her to move out of his home, but says she refused, even took away her key. But then you go to February 9th, and he came home to find her hanging out on his couch in her pajamas. According to McCoy,
Yo, how did she get back into his apartment? I wonder. I don't know. How did she get back into his apartment? If she told him, if he told her, hey, this is over. Hey, you need to, move out. You need to go do what you do. But this relationship is over. Then you end up, she ends up on his couch, and he's probably like, well, how'd she get in? Did she make an extra key? Did she just pop up at his house? I don't know. Was this judge hard to deal with? I mean, evidently so, right? Y'all, let's continue.
He left to go out to a restaurant, and when he came back, he told McKnight they'd talk about things in the morning. So he says he went to sleep at around 11 p.m. that night, but then wakes up a few hours later in incredible pain. He was blinded, unable to see, but says he could hear McKnight asking, Mike, what did you do to yourself? Well, turns out McCoy had a gunshot wound near his right eye. He was rushed to the hospital, told EMTs, though, he didn't shoot himself, was not suicidal.
So this is a crazy thing, y'all. This is a crazy thing. How in the world is she gonna pow him, right? And then she tries to make it seem like he pow-powed himself. He wakes up and his head is hurting. He's like, what is going on? Call 911. She was acting like he tried to take himself out. Y'all, this is crazy, y'all. Let's smash the like button, y'all.
And if at any point his heart stopped or he stopped breathing, he told the medical staff, save me. Now, the only other person in that home that evening was McKnight. Now, police say she called 911 to tell them she heard her boyfriend screaming but didn't know what happened. The problem for McKnight was, police quickly started uncovering clues in the home. The gun used in the shooting was owned by McKnight. Investigators found gunshot residue on her hand and clothes, and police say they caught McKnight in lies. For example, she told detectives that she didn't leave the house that night, but surveillance footage from neighbors proved that wasn't the case.
Wow.
McKnight was arrested and released on $300,000 bail, and her trial started more than a year later, and that is what we're going to talk about. But to get into some more of the evidence, this case, I'm not just bringing on an attorney. No. I'm going to bring on, for a judge who was convicted of acting quite badly, I'm bringing on right now Judge Brandon Birmingham.
And you guys, I don't know if he already said it. I can't remember, but I know that she already tried to, pow her ex-husband. Her ex-husband was asking her, she was asking him to come and help her move some furniture or something like that. And then she shoots him. Y'all, what is going on with this judge? A black female judge. She is, evidently she is like a gangster judge. What do y'all think? Put a one in the chat if y'all think this is a gangster judge. I'm just saying, she is doing the most on the coast. And who are you to judge somebody when you already try to take two people out? This is crazy, y'all. Let's continue.
Out of Texas. Judge, my goodness, so good to see you. It is not often we hear of someone in your line of work arrested and charged, but let alone accused of trying to kill someone. Your reaction to that?
Well, it was shocking to say the least. Just as you said, every now and then you'll hear about a judge getting in trouble, but for this kind of trouble, attempted murder, handgun to the face, trying to cover it up, lying to the police officers, her story unravels. It was quite a shocking tale.
By the way, we'll get into this a little bit more about her, other prior bad acts. We'll get into that. But generally speaking, if a judge gets convicted of a crime, attempted murder, what happens to all those cases that they presided over? Anything?
Well, all of those cases are going to be reviewed. Certainly, the lawyers that represented the clients are going to have an opportunity to look, and they can file post-conviction writs if they think something untoward has happened, especially around the time frame that this crime happened. If she was making big decisions, I'm sure that the lawyers in those cases are going to be reviewing them to see if there was anything that they can point to in the record to say, she wasn't acting right, or she didn't rule in the right way on these particular occasions.
Okay, so let's talk about this trial. Now, because of McKnight's prominence as a judge in the community, apparently a prosecutor from Cumberland County prosecuted the case to avoid any conflict of interest, and a jury was actually bussed in from nearby Delaware County. Judge, not surprised by that, but that's an issue in of itself, right? Having a judge on trial, it seems like they tried to take whatever safeguards were possible to make sure there wasn't a conflict, or that she got a fair and impartial jury.
Yeah, I think this case is a good illustration of how the process can work and is flexible. It's obviously unusual to have a judge on trial, but we do have processes in place to make sure that the appearance of impropriety doesn't exist in the trial, and that we have a jury pool that is less likely to be influenced by the fact that the person is a judge, or is less likely to.
So how is she a judge and then she's doing the most? I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but they said they're gonna look at her other cases. So I don't know, you guys. Let me know what y'all think. Let's continue.
Know the judge, after all, that a judge is somewhat a public figure. And so you take that away, and I think this case is a good illustration of also having a neutral prosecutor. Obviously, there's going to be the appearance of impropriety potentially for the same prosecutor in the same district to be prosecuting a judge that prosecutor's probably appeared in front of. And so we have a good illustration of how the process can work independently. And in this case, I don't think that any of the questions about this trial have had to do with that process, and that's a good thing.
Hey,
yes, y'all. Smash the like button, like my baby. He said, smash the like button, y'all. This is crazy. My baby Jamil said, this is crazy. Yes. How is a judge that she's already committed, alleged, shootings, pows, one with her ex-husband, then one with her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend now. and then she's on the judge judging other people for what they have done, right? So this lawyer, he said they're going to probably do some writs to see if any of any of the cases that she presided over, from what I understand, if they were like, cases that maybe they need to do a review and see if they need to do some, adjustments to those people's cases. But this is crazy. I mean, this is unheard of. A judge, a black female judge, 2 times getting in trouble with the law, and then unalive with a firearm, y'all. This is crazy. Smash the like button, y'all. We got 7 likes, y'all. Let's get them likes up. We can do a little bit more better. Smash the like button. Happy Tuesday. Great morning, y'all. Let's continue.
Real quick, I want to thank our incredible new sponsor, Experience.
Oh, let me skip this. This commercial.
Live. The prosecution argued that there were only 2 people in the home, McCoy and McKnight. And McCoy insisted he didn't shoot himself. So that left McKnight as the shooter, right? The defense argued, though, just because McKnight was the only other person in the house didn't prove that she did it. There's possibly reasonable doubt there. And on the first day, after opening statements, 17 witnesses were called. Most of them were police officers, others were first responders who were at McCoy's home. And Penn Live reports that multiple officers say that they heard McCoy state multiple times he was not trying to kill himself. He was not suicidal. Now, Judge.
Now that's crazy. I don't know what kind of pow pow she had, but whatever pow pow she had, it should have been like kind of like, a loud noise for him to like wake up. But he woke up because he was in like excruciating pain. But I would have thought that, he would have woke up from when the firearm went off. But for her, y'all, to lie and say that he tried to unalive himself, that is crazy. What kind of a person would do that? Will, pow pow somebody and then try to turn around and act like they didn't try to unalive themselves? This is crazy, right? T. Will says Sharon Wilson was a judge who was sentencing people while she was wearing an ankle monitor for. Oh, is that the judge that's in Atlanta? T. Will, is that the black female judge? I think I seen her case too. T. Will, this is crazy. Arctic One says hit the like button. Waffle says for a judge you would have thought she would be more careful in committing. Exactly right. Waffle Jackson says sloppy actions. Yes. How in the world are you a judge and you over here, yes, committing crimes, doing all this, doing the most on the coast, and then you're judging somebody? And how even with that Sharon Wilson, I think T. Will, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I seen her. She was drunk. She had a dress on. They took her to the police station. She was doing the most on the coast. That judge I think it was in Atlanta. And then, she was just, acting crazy. But if that's her, that's crazy. Like, these judges, how are you going to be judging somebody and then your actions out there in the community is like, terrible, garbage, right? You should be out there setting the example. You're a judge. You should set the example. You should set the bar for how people act, right? If you out there, even if you are drinking, whatever, living, your personal life, okay, cool. But if you're out there doing the most on the coast and then it comes back to like where everybody knows you're all on the news, you're sloppy drunk, you're doing the most on the coast, you're being, very, very, very disrespectful to the police officers. You are not setting the example. You're not setting the bar for people in the community to be doing, those, acting. It's crazy. But y'all, let's continue.
Having just one witness report about what someone said is one thing, but to have multiple witnesses corroborate that information, I imagine, is critical. By the way, how is there not a hearsay issue, right? They're overhearing what he said. Is there a hearsay issue at all?
There can be. There's also a number.
Let's skip that commercial. But yeah, this is crazy. I'm like really shocked. I'm like, what's going on with these black female judges? You guys have like so much power, so much respect. People are looking up to you, and then you are out here committing these crimes when you're the one who is judging people for what they have done, and here you are doing the same thing they are. It's crazy. But y'all, let's continue.
is making excited utterances, in other words, saying something in an excited state, that may be one exception. If they're giving their state of mind or their feelings of pain or fear or anxiety, that's another exception that can be used. And then there's another one called present sense impression. So there's ways to get around that, and all of those really relate to the state of mind of the victim in this case, and what was going on in his mind at the time immediately after this crime had apparently occurred. And those are vitally important statements that obviously swayed the jury. I think that was one of the key parts of this case.
And I'll get to the verdict, but it's interesting when you hear about this, because if this was a situation where he tried to harm himself, right? You've seen cases in the past where someone does try to do it, and then afterwards it's like, no, save my life, I regret this. It wasn't necessarily that's what. That's not. I can't imagine that in and of itself was the reason she was found guilty, right? Because there could be situations where somebody does.
But I mean, y'all, I have asked all the men in the building, right? I got a question. When you have a female that's acting crazy, acting irate, because I feel like she has a history of acting crazy, acting irate, because she, shot her ex-husband, then she shot her boyfriend. Is she a female? Like, is she like, hard to deal with, hard to handle? Is she off the chain? I don't know. Tell me, do you put a one in the chat if y'all think that this judge, maybe she's hard to handle, maybe she's hard to deal with, maybe she has a disgusting attitude, maybe she thinks she's all that because she's a judge. I don't know, y'all. Tell me. Liz, hey, we're talking about the judge out of Pennsylvania where she shot her boyfriend and also her ex-husband. Okay, my baby Jamil puts a 1. Yes, I think she's hard to deal with too. Waffle puts a 1 too. I think she's a hard to deal with because sometimes, I mean, not all the time, because you got some people, some females, black females who are very humble. They're not, oh, I'm a judge, I think I'm all that. Oh, I judge, some judges are, black female judges are very humble. Then you got the ones that are acting crazy, right? Oh, I'm a judge, you don't tell me what to do, or you want to do this, trying to use them being a judge as, they could talk to anybody crazy, they could do whatever they want to do. I mean, they could break the law. I mean, all kind of stuff. Hey, Tammy, welcome. Hey, Anonymous. Hey, Derek, welcome. Yes, Jamil says power. They try to use their power to do what they want to do, right? Oh, I'm a judge. I'm a black female judge. I can do whatever I want to do. This female black judge out of Pennsylvania, y'all, she's been in trouble with the law. She's been in trouble with the law twice for, at least from what we know. She shot her ex-husband, and then she shot her boyfriend. And then when she shot her boyfriend, she tried to make it seem like he was committing, the S word. Like, where do they do that at? That is crazy. I mean, y'all, that is crazy. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy, beyond belief crazy, y'all. Welcome in. Smash the like button, y'all. Let's smash the like button, y'all. These black judges, black female judges, are out of pocket. They are out of control. They are really showing, their communities that, like, should we even have voted her in? I don't know, y'all. But y'all, let's continue.
Try self-harm, but they may reverse course after it's attempted. So that only went so far for the prosecution, right?
Sure.
Hey, Bill says, I don't think it's important if you say she's a black judge. You just need to say judge. No, I'm saying, I'm not saying like trying to isolate, or not isolate, like judge black female judges, but I'm just saying this is like there's like 2 of them out there that I know of. But I'm just saying, she is a black female judge, yes. And some people, because female, doesn't matter what color you are, but some female judges think that, once they get into a place in their career as a judge, they can talk and do anything that they want to do. Talk to the people crazy, talk to the, inmates and criminals crazy when they're out doing the same or even worse, right? It's crazy. It's really crazy. So, but yeah, I'm not going to say just black. I'm going to say just female judges. Let's just put it like that. But hey, Anonymous, hey, D-Dot, Tammy, welcome in. So yes, just any any judge, but I'm just showing she's a black female judge. So I'm just saying they are, ones that get into these high places and then they start to be, do stuff and they be disrespectful, out in their lives, and then they're judging other people for what they do. But y'all, let's continue.
Sure, and that's one thing that you would consider one of the circumstances in this case. I think the two biggest problems that she had are, number one, her prior involvement with him. As you said at the top, he came home and she was in his house and she wasn't supposed to be there, and so that history is pretty important. And I think the other thing that's really important is that anytime a person accused of a crime is caught making untruthful statements, that usually is a good circumstance against them for a guilty verdict that the jurors will use, and we had some of that in this case.
Let's go to another aspect of this, and I think this is really important. So the forensic scientists also testified about the results of their tests, and both McKnight and McCoy had gunshot residue on them after the shooting. Now, the defense noted that there was more residue found on McCoy rather than on McKnight, according to the tests, but one witness testified that McKnight had washed her hands at least once before her hands were tested for any residue. Now, Judge, sometimes testimony from experts can be confusing for...
Check this.
Okay, let's let that commercial play. So yes, let me read. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, stereotype nobody, because there's, female judges that act crazy, no matter, what their race is. But I'm just showing you guys that this is a, hold on real quick.
So I'm going to show you how.
Hold on just a second, you guys. Hold on. I don't know. Hold on, you guys. Okay, so what I'm saying is there's okay, so this is a, black female judge, but not like all. I'm not saying all black female judge. I'm just saying some, because there's another one in Georgia. Not all, because there's, like I said, there's other female judges that be doing the most on the coast too, right? But this female judge, this is the second time that she got in trouble with the law. But what I'm saying, she seems to me, like I said, I may be wrong. I'm just saying this is her second time shooting, her, I guess, significant other. She had a boyfriend and a husband. So this is the second time. So to me, it just, I feel like maybe a sense of arrogancy, a little bit, I may be wrong, right? Maybe a sense of arrogance that, I'm a judge, I'm at the top of the world or whatever. Like, maybe she feels like she could talk to the men like any kind of way or whatever, right? Waffle says, for real though, salute Jamil in the lounge. Thank you, Waffle. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm not trying to stereotype nobody, y'all, because there's, like I said, female judges of all races that do crazy things. But this one right here, she has 2 charges. Like, I can imagine the way that she was probably talking to them. And I don't know her background. I want to see if I can find some cases that she presided over. Maybe they have some over the internet, because I watch a lot of like local different places, local court hearings, because after COVID they had a lot of cases with the different states. They will do online. They still do online to today. Like Louisiana is a big one. Texas is another big one. I think it's like in Michigan. They have a lot of court cases anyway. But I want to see how she acts. I just want to see how she talks to the inmates, talk to the people that are, going to court. I wonder what her demeanor is. How is she respectful? Is she tries to be like a level-headed person, tries to, just preside over the case, or is she a nasty person, like she has a sense of arrogance? I don't know. But y'all, let's continue.
And you have forensic experts get down into the nitty-gritty of how their testing works, but why is it so important for them to basically, show their work to jurors, not just give their conclusion? What do you think this impact had on the jury?
Jurors are always going to be looking for physical evidence. They know and they're told and they expect that when a person fires a gun, that there's the potential that gunshot residue might be on their hand. The expert would also say that just because you have gunshot residue on your hand, that doesn't mean necessarily you fired it, but it could mean that you were in close proximity to it. So that may explain the gunshot residue, but it goes back to those statements that you make. Insofar as somebody's caught in a lie, that's usually a piece of evidence against them. The same thing is if they're covering up evidence, and certainly somebody in her position is going to be familiar with gunshot residue.
Right.
They know how it works. At least have a work.
Thank you, Anonymous. Yes, we had to send people to the block party. But y'all, this judge too, she knew like going to wash her hands. I think they said she dunked her shirt in the toilet or something. Like she knew some of the stuff to do, right? She knew some of the things that, you know, when after a criminal offense has taken place, she knows that, you know, they come in, they check for residue, they check the crime scene, they check all of that, right? So some of the stuff she was doing was very questionable too, right? But y'all, let's continue.
Working knowledge of it. And so she's going to know, and jurors are thinking, man, she knows how this process works. And now she's in there washing her hands twice. That looks pretty bad.
Even if she didn't have an understanding of gunshot residue, she knows how evidence works. She knows the rules of evidence, right? She knows, and I have to say, you know, look, I'll be the first to tell you, Judge. Sometimes I look at judges and we forget that they're real people, right? They're held to this position, they're held to the standard, rightfully so. It's an incredible position to have. It's a
And you guys, yes, I believe, you know, it's an honorary position to be a judge, right? It's an honorable position. But when you are selected to be a judge, I mean, that is like, I mean, that's a great thing if that's, you know, what you want to be is a judge, right? But at the same time, you know, some judges are very, you know, mean. They don't care. They're like disgusting. But some of them are very like level-headed. You know, I've seen a lot that are like very level-headed. But you got those ones that, you know, they think they're like, you know, all the way up here when everybody else is below them. But then when they are doing these terrible things, like you kind of question like, who are you to judge me? And you did the same thing I did. You didn't, you know, pow somebody. I pow somebody. But y'all, these are some, I'm not saying, you know, some judges are like that. But y'all, let's continue.
privilege to have, and I sometimes forget that they're human beings, and it makes me wonder, you know.
Oh yes, Waffle Jackson, I do believe that. I believe that she does know the law, and she knows how. You know, you got those people that know how to push it to the limit. They know how to push it to the limit. They know how to be like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, that, and the third. But they like they know the fine line, like not to cross over. And I think that's probably her situation too, right? She knew what to do, but some of the stuff she was being very sloppy with, like, you know, washed her hands twice, I think they said. Then I believe she dunked her shirt in the toilet. So there was like things that she was doing to try to, I guess, you know, mess with the evidence so that they wouldn't probably, at least she probably thought, oh, let me go do this, let me go do that, so I won't get caught or whatever, right? Hey, loving myself, welcome in, welcome in. So y'all, let's continue.
What she did here, the surveillance footage, lying, the 911 call, and I'll tell you this, one of the police officers testified that she dropped some sort of article of clothing that was supposed to be turned over to investigators into a toilet at the police station. So
see, y'all, she was trying to get rid of the evidence at the police station, y'all. At the police station, she dropped her shirt, I believe her shirt, in the toilet because she didn't want them to, you know, be able to get, like, that is so, like, so how can I say it? So obvious. Like, why are you dropping your shirt in the toilet? Like, what you doing that for, right? I'm telling you, that is crazy, and that's behavior that makes you think, like, what is she doing? Does she think she's a smooth criminal? Because if she was a smooth criminal, she would have never, ever got caught. But when she was blaming and saying that her boyfriend was trying to commit, you know, the S word and trying to take himself out, I was like, why would she even say that? Why would she even say that? But y'all, let's continue. Let's continue.
So now you're talking about, again, potentially tampering with evidence, not a good look. But it makes me wonder, how did she think she was going to get away with this?
I ask myself that question quite frequently in my line of work. I think it probably stems from something being short-sighted. It probably stems from arrogance. Probably stems from self-preservation.
See, y'all, I think arrogance too. This is another judge that he's like, kind of, discussing it with him. I think arrogance played a part in it too, because I feel like if you had two, your ex-husband, and then you have a boyfriend, and then you pow both of them, like how is your behavior? How are you acting? Are you acting like you are at the top of the world, like, okay, nobody tell me nothing, I'm a judge, you gonna listen to me? Even in her relationships, y'all know some people, when they get a job and they're like supervisors and everything on their job, they try to come home and be the same way, right? Bossy, trying to tell their spouses or significant others what to do, and they don't know how to draw the line. So I wonder if that was bleeding into her personal life. I mean, I don't know. I could just imagine, because if there was an issue with two, I mean, y'all, the common denominator is her, right? The common denominator is her. Whenever we have situations, you got 10, things that went wrong, and then it's like this person is still, in all the situations, and they may be the problem, right? I'm just saying they may be the common denominator. But y'all, let's continue.
You commit the crime and you try to get away with it. You don't anticipate all of the problems, and so you got to cover up, man. And that's, man, oh man, my courtroom is full of stories like that.
So, Mr. McCoy took the stand during the trial. This is big, okay?
Good morning, Kathy.
Now, he had told the jurors that he had been asking McKnight to leave his home every day for a week, and she ignored him. And on the night of the shooting, the last thing that he remembers is McKnight saying to him before he went to bed in the guest bedroom, "Oh, so you're serious?"
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Hold on. Waffle says, woman thought she was Judge Dredd out here. I am the law. Yes, I think so. I think that's one thing too. Absolutely. Candace says, traffic control supervisor there. Loving Myself says, my 6. Okay. Tammy says she got away with one. She thought she was gonna get away. She got away with one. She thought it would be the same the next time. Yes, I think so too. I really think so. Candace says, gotta know when to draw the line. Yes, absolutely. Because like I said, that's what you said, Tammy, was right. When people do things like one time, and then they say, "Oh, I got away with it. Oh, okay, maybe let me try the second time." They get away with it. Let me try it third time. Then they're getting away with it. They're like, like it's like a pattern, right? And they're like, "Oh, I get away with this. Oh, I get away with that." They'll continue to do it. So yeah, Tammy, she probably did say, "Oh, I didn't get in trouble. I just got a slap on the wrist for shooting my ex-husband. So let me, I'm mad. My boyfriend, he's telling me I gotta move out. He's telling me I gotta go. Oh, I'm about to light him up too, right? I'm telling you." Kathy says 100%. Love Myself says, oh, okay. Tammy says judge, jury, and executioner. Absolutely. D-Dot says you will get absolutely, like what you do in the dark. They always say what you do in the dark comes out to the light. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all believe that. Whatever y'all do in the dark, it will come to the light, right? Kathy says, Tammy, you are right. Tammy says it gets easier after. Yes, it does. It really, really does. It gets easier after the. I mean, come on now. People that rob banks. Oh, let me go rob this bank. Oh, okay, we got away with it. Okay, let's go to the next bank. Let's rob that bank. And then it's a pattern. And then you're like, oh, I ain't getting caught. I ain't getting caught. But then the 4th or 5th time you do it, oh, you getting caught. And then they will be like, oh, well, we had some banks that were robbed on Martin Luther King Street. Oh, we had some over there on Sunset Boulevard that were robbed. And then they start adding up these banks that, oh, maybe, this person robbed the bank. Oh, okay, maybe they're tied to that. And then that's how they rack up all them charges, because they thought they could get away with it. But when they finally get caught, they try to be like, oh, this bank got robbed, that bank. Yep, that's all you, right? But y'all, let's continue. Okay, that says trying to be like the girls from Set It Off. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. But y'all, let's continue.
And McCoy testified that when he woke up in searing pain, he thought he was actually having some sort of aneurysm. He didn't even realize he'd been shot until a paramedic told him. This
Wow.
shooting left him blind in one eye. He's already had 2 major surgeries. An ophthalmologist testified that McCoy would need medical treatment for the rest of his life to maintain the eyesight that he has left.
That is crazy, y'all. That is crazy. He went blind, but the thing is how did he not? I don't know what type of what weapon she used, but I would have thought that would have like went off. Hey, T2 Cups, welcome. I thought that he would probably hear that like go off and like that it would wake him up. But maybe that did happen where he was, I guess maybe when he did wake up, maybe that's when he started feeling the headache, and that's when he's like, hey, call 911. I mean, this is crazy. Robert says, whatever you do in the dark, yes, comes to the light. Amen. Anonymous says they will rush to a bank in a metro area before any MLK road. I've noticed. T2 Cuss, hey, how's it going? My baby Jamil says, smash the like button. Yes, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It is crazy. But y'all, let's continue.
And he told the jurors that when McKnight responded to his screams, he had to ask her to call 911, and she didn't do it right away. And she then, according to him, led him to the furthest.
Oh, she was, y'all. She was hotter than fish grease. He had to ask her twice to call 911. She was probably like, no, Ninja, you didn't tell me to get out. Oh, you gonna suffer. You 911, you didn't need me to call 911? Hold on. She probably went and made her some coffee. She probably went and go get her a snack or whatever. Took a shower, whatever. Oh, you want me to call 911? That is crazy. That is really crazy, y'all. But y'all, let's continue.
Bathroom on the 2nd floor of the house. So, Judge, I mean, really, really bad testimony. You don't always get a surviving, I mean, you don't get a victim to testify, a surviving victim testifying. It's unbelievable. And in this state, to recount what happened is very, very powerful evidence, no?
And that is the icing that took the cake for me with this situation, because he survived. She thought that she was going to take him out, but he lived, and he went and he testified in court. So when she thought she was going to get away, like, okay, I'm going to take him out. Yeah, he lived to make it. And then he testified against her. And then she lied and said, oh, you try to, he tried to unalive himself. Like, how did I try to unalive myself? You're mad because I told you that this relationship is over. Now you're going to try to unalive me? Why do people do these crazy things when all they have to do is pick up their stuff and leave? Hey, Goddess, welcome. Why? I mean, it is so easy. Just, okay, this relationship is over. Okay, let me go pack my bags. Or let me just go and get, let me go get my drawers, my pajamas, my house slippers, my my sweatsuits, whatever you left there, whatever you have there, right? Just pick it up and leave. Why did you pick up a gun and then shoot him? Now you're in trouble, and not for the first time that you got in trouble. This is the second time. Like, I don't understand what is so hard with these people when they have breakups. I know feelings is in the air. You're feeling some type of way. You're upset. You're mad. You're angry. But is your freedom worth powing somebody and getting attempted murder charge? I mean, is that even worth it, y'all? I don't know, but y'all, let's continue. Not to me, it's not. Absolutely not.
May 21st. Absolutely. This is through no fault of her, not a murder case. She tried her very best to make it a murder case. That's what the attempted murder charge is. And, had he succumbed to his injuries, we never would have known about that final statement that she made. Oh, now you're serious. And boy, once you put it in context with her prior conduct and what we know now happened, it seems like that's the moment in time that maybe she decided what she was going to do. She probably considered it some time before. Obviously, she had the weapon, but maybe that was the moment in time when she realized this relationship is truly over. And that's when she, I want to use the word snapped. That's when she decided that she was going to commit this crime.
T2 Cup said she wanted a couples court, and he said HE to the LL to the no. He was a mess, T2 Cups. Oh my God. Let's continue.
What a chilling piece of testimony that only comes because he survived.
And I imagine the jury seeing him in the state, learning more about his condition. that helps. That helps the credibility aspect of it, right?
It's going to help the court craft the sentence as well. This permanent physical disfigurement and permanent injury is going to be a permanent reminder for the victim for the rest of his life. And that's going to have an impact on what the sentence is and the outcome of this case.
Oh, absolutely. And it's incredible. I mean, it's a miracle he's alive after something like this. So the idea is not only did she shoot him, not only did she make it clear that she wasn't trying to save him, make sure paramedics wouldn't get there as quickly as possible. But here's the thing. During his testimony, McCoy admitted he didn't actually see who shot him. He said, "I can't say who it was. I was blind. But I can tell you who was in that house prior to me going to sleep. The only other person in that house was Sonia McKnight." And once the...
Hey, Michael Miller, welcome in. Y'all, how is it that she powed him and then she tried to take forever to call 911? To me, she wanted to make sure that he was, gonna pass away. I mean, if you really did not want him to pass away, you was concerned, you would have called 911 immediately. So really, to me, and this is just my opinion, everybody's entitled to their own, maybe she wanted him to, be unalive. She makes sure that he was, going to be taken out of here because she took so long to call 911. She was piddling around. Yeah, he's in there. That little joker's in there. Yeah, he's in there suffering, bleeding out. Yeah, He's like, "Can you call 911? Oh, yeah, I just gotta wash my face." Whatever she was doing to take her time, she took her time to call 911 because he asked her twice. That is crazy, right? Let's continue.
Jury got the case. They didn't deliberate very long. Within 2 hours, they convicted McKnight of attempted murder and aggravated assault. Now,
wow, it only took them 2 hours to come up with attempted murder. That was quick, 2 hours. They was like, "Oh, we gonna hurry up and we gonna put this one, hurry up, get her out of here." And then when they finished, they took her straight to prison, y'all. Let's continue.
Judge, you think the jury got it right in the end? Did the prosecution prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt?
This is a wonderful example of a circumstantial evidence case because we don't have any direct evidence about who actually pulled the trigger. The circumstances before the crime, this souring relationship, the character of the defendant, and then the lies that she told and the cover-ups that she tried to make afterwards all convinced this jury beyond a reasonable doubt that she's the one that did the crime.
By the way, it was interesting they charged her not only with attempted murder, but assault. So in other words, if the jury wouldn't believe this was murder, attempted murder, they could at least get her for the assault charge, right?
Yeah, assault charge, intent to commit assault or cause serious bodily injury is a lesser charge of attempted to commit murder, at least in some jurisdictions. And really, it's all about punishment. But the jurors are going to look at the location of the wounds. They're going to look at the type of weapon used.
Yeah, and that's crazy. That is crazy. Let me see. Anonymous says insurance smells good. She tried and failed. I know, right? Goddess says you can't make this ish up. I know, right, Goddess? Anonymous says, try to off me, you get my debts. I know, right? I got some bills that need to be taken care of. When I pass away, you gonna take care of them? I'm telling you, this is crazy. T2 Cup says, allegedly, she says she thought that the gun was a dang, not a mallet. Not a mallet, T2 Cups. Waffle says the jury said the ninjas goal debt guilty. Oh my goodness, Dida said it's over. Yeah. Absolutely, it is over. OVE, right? OVA, right? It's crazy. But she said that he tried to unalive himself. How he unalive himself and he was sleeping, right? He was not. Look, night lights out. He wakes up and then he got a headache, and then all of a sudden she's trying to say, "Well, you tried to unalive yourself." He was like, "I never tried to unalive myself." Even when he was surviving in the hospital, he was like, "Before if I pass away, something happened, I want everybody to know I did not try to take myself out." Right? But y'all, let's continue.
How far away was the weapon, and what was the victim doing during the time that the weapon was used? And all of those things would indicate that she had murder on her mind when she walked into that bedroom.
You mentioned punishment. Let's talk about that. So according to Penn Live reporters that were in the courtroom when the verdict was read, McCoy bowed his head. McKnight didn't have any kind of reaction. The judge deemed she's a flight risk, raised her bail to $3 million. Sheriff deputies took her into custody, led her from the courtroom in handcuffs. And McKnight reportedly faces between 30 to 60 years in prison when she's sentenced in May. By all accounts, she's going to have to serve her sentence at SCI Muncie, the only prison in Pennsylvania that houses women. Judge, what's she looking at? What kind of punishment you think?
Rush deliveries cost extra.
Uh-oh. Let's I mean, y'all, she gonna look at some time. She is a judge, and then oh my goodness, this is crazy. I don't know. I don't know how long she's gonna serve, but she's gonna get some time because they're gonna look at, I think, oh man, this is not her first time. This is her second time that she tried to take somebody out. I don't even know, you guys, what happened to the first her ex-husband. I don't even know what they gave. It seemed like they gave her a slap on the wrist, and they didn't find out until this happened about the first time when she tried to take her ex-husband out. But y'all, let's continue.
30 to 60 years, and I'm not 100% familiar with the statutory scheme there, but I do know that there are certain aggravating factors that a court will take into consideration in a punishment phase, as well as certain mitigating factors, and that's what all punishment phases are about. It helps that in her life she's led a good life. She's been in. She hasn't ever been convicted of a felony before, and so she has a lack of criminal history that would warrant some mitigation. On the other hand, this seems to be a premeditated crime of a defenseless person that was extraordinarily violent, and she tried to lie and cover it up, and so that's going to hurt her in that analysis.
I am curious if something that might hurt her is her past. What do I mean by that? So this apparently is not the first time that former Judge McKnight has been in trouble. It's not even...
Ooh, wait, hold on. God has brought up a good. Hold on. God has brought up a good. Oh my God. Goddess says, I hope she's not in prison with the people she locked up. Goddess, what if that is the truth and that is the case? Oh my, y'all, they gonna have to put her in what's it called, protective custody in her own cell, because that is going to be an uproar in that prison. That's going to be an uproar in that prison. Could y'all imagine if y'all then committed a crime, got sentenced, and then you guys go, and then the judge that sentenced you is your cellie? Y'all, that is crazy. Y'all, let's continue.
The first time she was accused of shooting a lover. So at the time of her arrest, she was actually suspended from the bench without pay. There were claims that she violated judicial probation in a misconduct case in 2020 when she allegedly got involved in a traffic stop of her son. She was acquitted of criminal charges.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, is she like a hood judge? I mean, she has other things. I did not even realize that she has other things besides, shooting her ex-husband. So she's a mess. Let's continue.
But remain suspended. According to the District Conduct Board of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, McKnight violated 7 different rules governing standards of conduct of magisterial district judges. Those violations included theft of time, when she allowed employees to take extra vacation days. She also allegedly told her office manager to pretend she never received a civil complaint regarding a loan that she owed. 2019, by the way, McKnight was investigated for shooting her estranged husband.
I see, y'all. This is her husband right here. This is her ex-husband. She shot him too. Y'all, this judge is off the chain, y'all. What is going on? She is off the chain, y'all. Let's continue.
In the groin, prosecutors didn't file charge.
Oh, she shot him in the eggplant. Was she mad? Was she upset because he didn't want to be with her no more? And she was about to take him out and make sure that he wasn't about to be doing nobody else. In the groin, shot him in the groin. Y'all, this judge is, is she like, oh my God, she's like a thugged out judge? I mean, I don't know, y'all. She's like, a whole criminal judge on the stand. I don't know, y'all. Let's continue. Oh my goodness, she is off the chain.
They said it was self-defense, but Judge, can any of that come into her sentencing?
In jurisdictions like Texas, the answer is yes. We're pretty wide open. Some jurisdictions have, sentencing guidelines they've got to follow. I will say that if somebody's acquitted of a crime, that usually is not admissible in a punishment phase because they've been acquitted of the conduct, even if the conduct was justified. And I believe that in the case of the shooting of her former, I guess it was her ex-husband.
Yes.
That was a justified shooting, according to.
She shot him in the. Dina said she shot him in the egg roll. Yes, she shot him in the egg roll. She was making sure. She was making sure you ain't about to be using that no more. You bet that the elevator is not going to the top, right? We didn't disconnected that elevator, right? We disconnected that elevator. You won't be able to use that no more, right? Oh, she is a thugged out judge. Oh my goodness, y'all. Let's continue.
The news reports that I read, so that probably won't come in, but the allegations of official misconduct, if the state can prove that beyond a reasonable doubt in the punishment phase, and it's something under Pennsylvania law that will allow for an enhanced sentencing, then yeah, the answer is yes. It comes in, as a judge friend of mine used to say, it comes in like a freight train.
You gotta ask this. You gotta answer this for me. What goes into a judge getting on the bench?
D-Dot said the babies died. All the babies is gone, D-Dot. All the babies. Anonymous says his yogurt slinger ain't slinging nothing no more. Absolutely. Oh my God, y'all, this is crazy. I mean, she was a thugged out judge. Oh my God.
I mean, what is the background check process? What is there a psychological evaluation? When I see what she's now convicted of, obviously, I say this in a lot of different cases about law enforcement acting badly, teachers acting badly. Hindsight's 2020. Nobody has a crystal ball, but you got to tell me. And look, you may know this better than me. I don't see cases every 5 seconds.
Y'all, this is crazy, right? We got the teachers messing with the students, getting pregnant from the students. We got the judges, y'all, thugged out, y'all. They slinging the pow-pows, shooting the ex-husbands in the eggplant, the egg room, making sure that the elevator is disconnected. What is going on, y'all? This is crazy. Like I said, there was another judge in Atlanta that she was drunk, acting a fool. And I was like, oh my God, and she's a judge? And then I ran into this judge, and here she is. She is packing. She will pull out that gun in a hot New York minute. She will light them up. Y'all, is this what she was known for? And does she have any more? History of just those two? Is it like, she got Mark over there, she got, Anthony, she got John, does she have a list of others that she did this to that they're not bringing up or they're not mentioning? I don't know, because it seems like her got a history. But y'all, let's continue.
It's about judges being arrested and convicted of crimes, let alone attempted murder. There has to be there's some sort of review process, right? I know it's not full.
And y'all, if y'all look at her and see her as a judge, she's a beautiful woman, right? You would have never thought that she was on on Thug Time, right? You would have never thought that she was like, in them streets like that, packing. I would have never thought that. I would have never ever thought that. But y'all, let's continue.
Foolproof, but when you hear a judge getting involved in this stuff, what does it take for a judge to get on the bench?
Well, this is an interesting question. It's different in every state. In Texas, we're simply elected. You have to have been an attorney for 5 years, and you are elected and popular.
Hey, Seeker. Seeker says them glasses look sneaky. Anonymous says she packing. He now lacking. Anonymous, y'all, it's hilarious. Oh my God, y'all. Y'all is hilarious.
Elections. Other states are appointed by the governor's office. Some states have retention elections. There's always going to be some minimum qualifications about your legal standard and have a good law license and all of those things. But there's no mental health evaluation or anything like that. I think really maybe in this case.
Oh no. She's not crazy. She knows what she's doing. She is she's like hood thug, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, street. She's street mentality, baby, on the bench. She is. I don't know what to call her, but y'all, this is not her first time, and she is showing like she's not scared. She is not, y'all. This is crazy. A judge, and when you're a judge, it takes, like he said, it's a process to becoming a judge. It's nothing that you can go sign up for. Okay, I'm a judge. No, it's a process. Some states, they vote them in, I believe. Some states, how he said, they do different things, but at the same time, y'all, she done made it that far. That is like a very good accomplishment. Like, is it not? Then you understand and you doing like things that you are, prosecuting people for, judging people for, sending people to prison for years for. And here you are, oh, I'm a judge. I could do the same thing that you did and get away with it. I feel like she has that mentality to me. I'm just saying, what do y'all think? Put a one in the chat if you guys have that thought of her, with a mentality like that. Because if she did it once, then she did it twice, then she has other criminal stuff. She is a hot mess, y'all. Let's continue.
Is that, judges are, as you said at the very beginning of this segment, judges are human beings, and some apples are bad, and we can unfortunately see how those apples have spoiled in this case. And that's the same for any profession. Lawyers, teachers, gosh, anytime there's humans involved, there's human error, and that this case is a good example of it. Judges are human.
Dita said it was part of her nature. I think so too, because you know that saying, right? You can't change ho 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 Merry Christmas into a housewife, right? You can't take no street boy and think that you could take him out the streets and he's like straightening up to be a good person overnight, right? These things are like impossible. So when you have these things in you, even though you change your life, yeah, you did, but at the same time you still have that. It's like some of it lays dormant in people, right? Some of it lays dormant. Okay, it's in me. It's in me to be, a hood rat, a hood girl, whatever, thugged out, a street boy, whatever. It's in me, right? But sometimes you have to lay it to rest, let it go dormant. Now, you have to bring it out when you need to, but not like that when you're in a certain position, right? Like, you have to leave certain things behind. You cannot go up there and be doing the most on the coast when you are a judge, judging people for the same thing you're doing. And then when she does get to court, I think God has said that, what if she sees some of them women in there that she sentenced to, probably life in prison? 10, 20, 30 years, and they see her, they're like, whoa, hold on, you judge, Judge Harris, oh my goodness, oh wait, you up in here too with us, oh, okay. I'm telling you, this is going to be an uproar in the prison, right? It's going to be an uproar. But y'all, let's continue.
We're not special, we're not omniscient. We won elections or we got appointed, and that's basically the only thing that qualifies us, and there's nothing more than that.
I talked to members of law enforcement about cases of law enforcement members being charged with crimes, committed of misconduct, accused of misconduct. I imagine, and this is what they say, the people who want to hold the members of law enforcement, members of authority accountable more than anybody else are the members of law enforcement. They take offense to it. They get more angry than anybody else. When you see a case like this, does it make you angry?
Yeah, there's I feel like all my judges all across the country are my brothers and sisters. They're my colleagues, and we're committed to making sure that our process is safe, and to anything that would impugn the process we dislike. And this is certainly something that disparages the judiciary as a whole, and that's tough to take. Tough to take.
Judge Brandon Birmingham, great seeing you. One of the best judges we know, and
So yeah, that wraps it up in a nutshell, you guys. This judge, she's gonna sentence. I think in May they're gonna sentence her, but is her other situations gonna come out? Do they have more stuff that they're finding out about this judge? Because she did not even get to me, I feel like she got a slap on the wrist for shooting her ex-husband. This stuff is crazy, but at the same time, like God has said, are they going to have to put her in solitary confinement? Are they going to have to house her in a whole different unit, by herself? Because I know some of them women that she sentenced, they're going to be up in that prison, right? I don't know how many female prisons they have in Pennsylvania, but if they have only very few, any way it goes, there's probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 20 or 100. I don't know how many people that she probably sentenced, how many females, right? It's going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. But I did not know about this. This happened last year, and then she went to court recently. So at the same time, in May, next month she's going to be sentenced. So we're going to actually follow up with that. But the goddess says, Adam, she pow her boyfriend. Yeah. So so this judge, she's from Pennsylvania. She lives in Pennsylvania. in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and she was doing the most on the coast. She shot her boyfriend in the face, and the reason why she did it because her boyfriend was like, "Oh, this relationship is over. You need to move out." She didn't want to move out. After 30 days trying to get her out, that's when she came and she pow-powed him. So I'm telling you, it is crazy. But we're gonna follow up on this story. We're gonna see what happens, how long she's gonna get at her sentencing next month. But y'all stay tuned. Thanks for stopping by, y'all. We are on like a vacation. I look a hot mess, but we are going to be keeping up with what's going on with her and how long she gets, right? But stay tuned. I'm gonna do a couple more lives today, so stay tuned. I'm all live, love. I can't even speak. Love, peace, and tranquility, you guys. And I'll see y'all on the next live. Bye bye.